Today I'm doing a requested video on how I edit my Instagram photos. You guys have been asking for this video, so here it is. I have 4 different photos to show you guys how I edit them. I have a style or fashion pic, I also have food, I have a landscape or design, and then I also have a selfie. I edit these different ways, so let's start with my style pic. I like to use Faded. This is a newer app, and I don't know, I just like the filters in this one. I've been using more of the filters in this one than any of the other apps. So all I basically do is do what feels good to me. If I like what I see, then I use it. So I'll go through the app, and usually I will bump down the intensity of the filter. I'll also go and fix the contrast, whatever looks good for the picture. I'll also touch the exposure a little bit. Sometimes I'll bring it up or keep it down. I also like to do a little bit of brightness. And for my temperature, I like my photos to be more cool toned and blue toned. So I like to turn down the warmness. And I also like to apply a little bit of shadow fixture so that way it's not shadowed too much. And then of course I always sharpen at the end because I feel like a clearer, more vibrant picture is better. I'll export that picture in the medium file, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like before and after. It's kind of hard to see, but you can go on my Instagram account and see that photo if you are interested. You can follow me at Calais_Lagunero. So let's start with the food pic. Snapseed is my second favorite app. I love this because it has like detailed and selective tools that I can use. So I like to use this for my food pictures. I also like to use it if I am taking product photos or anything like that. So I have a picture of my sandwich, and I'm using the selection tool, and I'm just applying this in areas where it's more darker, and then I'll bring up the brightness, and it creates a overall brightness of the photo so that way there's no inconsistencies. You can spend a lot of time doing this. I don't spend that much time, but you can see the before and after. I also like to mess with the ambience. I like to touch contrast and anything else. And again, do what feels good for you. This isn't like a cookie cut way of editing your pictures. This is just how I've done it and how I like it to look. So just play around with the filters and the tools. Instagram has some great tools also that you can use if you don't want to download extra filters, but these are my personal faves. So let's start with landscape and design. So I went to IKEA the other day, and I love using ViscoCam. I paid for this app, and I paid for a lot of the filters from this app, and it just has a bunch of features. My 2 favorites are the Hypebeast filters because they're more cool toned and blue toned, and I feel like it just creates a beautiful picture. I like my photos to look very editorial, but still very realistic and something that anyone can do. So even though I use filters and I mess with tools on the image, I still want it to look like I took it from my iPhone, which I did. So this is what I'm doing here. I'm messing with exposure. You can bring it all the way up. I don't usually do that. I'll usually bring the exposure down, and I'll bring the contrast up. I'll probably bump that up 1 or 2 times. Of course, I like to sharpen. I feel like the sharpen tool in this app is better than all of the other ones. And then I'll fix shadows, and I like to bring down the saturation a lot. Sometimes my photos are kind of washed out, and I really like the look and the feel. It makes my feed look very nice. And of course, the temperature, bring it down so that way I bring more blues into it, and then I'll just save it. So there's the before and there's the after. So it just gives it a little oomph. So next up is the selfie, and this one I take for like my makeup pics. I like to try to keep it as true as possible. I used to go super crazy with those blur type of retouching filters, but now I've just kind of keep it minimalistic. I took this with my Sony RX100 camera, which is my fave, and I added some detail to the eye area, and then I'm just smoothing out any areas where the light hits. I have big pores, so I like to smooth it out just a little bit, and if I have a pimple or a blemish or something, I'll fix that with the patch tool super quick, and then I'll take the blur tool just to make sure that it's consistent and just blur it out just a little bit. But I don't really go in really heavy or hard with that. I want you to see the makeup. I want it to look like my skin, but just a little bit better. If I do add a filter, I like to use Faded again, and I just go through, look for a filter that I really like. I don't usually use the filter all the way up. I'll bring it pretty close to none sometimes, and then I'll save it. And then this is how I upload it to Instagram. So I will position it, and I love the fact that Instagram created a way to where you can like upload a full photo and your feed still looks consistent. So if you haven't followed me on Snapchat, I do daily vlogs, mini vlogs, behind the scene type of things, unboxings, all of that stuff. Also, if you haven't followed me on Twitter, if you have a question, if you just want to keep up with me, I'm always on Twitter. And you can follow my blog, KaleilaGranaro.com. I have a ton of exclusive blog posts and content there if I'm not here on YouTube. And of course, just make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.